mortification will unfold the Electro. Great love outside the struggle will be glorified by you.
Glorified.
Nothing can ever go.
Remember when you ran away and I got on my knees and begged you not to leave because I go berserk? Well, you left me anyhow, and then the days got worse and worse, and now you see I've gone completely out of my mind. And they're coming to take me away, haha, they're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha, to the funny farm where life is beautiful all the time, and I'll be happy to see those nice young men in their clean white coats, and they're coming to take me away, ha-ha! You thought it was a joke, and so you laughed. You laughed when I had said that losing you would make me flip my lid. Right? You know you laughed. I heard you laugh. You laughed and laughed, and then you left. But now now you know I'm utterly mad. And they're coming to take me away, ha-ha. They're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha. To the happy home with trees and flowers and chirping birds and basket weavers who sit and smile and twiddle their thumbs and toes, and they're coming to take me away, ha-ha. I cooked your food, I cleaned your house, and this is how you pay me back for all my kind, unselfish, loving deeds. Ha? Well, you just wait, they'll find you yet, and when they do, they'll put you in the ASPCA, you mangy mutt. And they're coming to take me away, ha-ha, they're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha, to the funny farm where life is beautiful all the time, and I'll be happy to see those nice young men in their clean white coats, and they're coming to take me away, ha-ha, to the happy home with trees and flowers and chirping birds and basket weavers who sit and smile and twiddle their thumbs and toes, and they're coming to take me away, ha-ha, to the funny farm where life is beautiful all the time, and I'll be happy to see those nice young men in their clean white coats, and they're coming to take me
They follow you in the dark night.
Hey guys, first off, not an expert here on the Typhoon, but I'm just going to give you a bit of information about things that I've noticed over basically just YOLOing them over the past week, and a little bit about the variant Typhoon fleet issue, but mostly just the standard Tech 1 Typhoon. In my opinion, it's not a very strong ship for 1v1 situations. Like 1v1 battleships, the Typhoon would not be anywhere near my first three choices. It's not a weak ship. I think it's really good for what I use it for, but in like a 1v1 battleship situation, trying to fit DPS that can break your opponent while still utilizing a strong tank is really difficult. Not impossible, but just difficult. I've got two fits here I'm going to show you guys that I was messing around with and had some mixed success. A lot of fun definitely going up against small gangs of sub-battleship class ships. Even if they do bring in a battleship, you pretty much know you can kill a lot of the small stuff before you die. And if you're really good at it, you can keep your ISK efficiency up, but you're definitely not going to hold the field. If a battleship shows up in a small gang, you're kind of screwed. Now, that could be the situation with a lot of ships. However, it is amplified with the Typhoon. The big deal here is the explosion velocity bonus that it gets for cruise missiles and torpedoes. Now, I haven't messed around too much with the torpedo variant of this fit. It's a little harder on power grid and CPU, does more damage and still applies pretty good. But unfortunately, every time I tried to take one out, it was the unlucky ship that got turbo-blobbed and ECM'd to death. So not really going to focus on the torpedo variant, although it might be very, very viable. We're going to focus mostly on cruise missiles. Yes, these underrated PvP element of the game does exist, especially on the Typhoon, because of the explosion velocity bonus at level 5 battleships. Let me show you something. Let's go and look at something that a lot of pilots are familiar with and probably flown once or twice. What is it, this one? Nope. There it is. Okay, so rapid heavies, that's pretty popular on the Typhoon, and especially the Typhoon fleet issue, which in my opinion, the Typhoon fleet issue shines much better with rapid heavies, not because it's a more expensive ship with more armor and power grid, but because of its particular bonus, which we'll get into in a moment. But these don't really shine too well on the Typhoon, in my opinion, and I'll show you why. The Typhoon, like the Bellicose, my big complaint about the Bellicose, its damage bonus is a rate of fire bonus. So 5% bonus to rate of fire of heavy missiles, cruise, and torpedoes. Okay, now that's good for cruise missiles. That's really good for cruise missiles. It's fine for torpedoes too because of the reload time and the damage output. However, with heavy, with rapid heavies, it's not so good because with rapid heavies you want a damage bonus as opposed to a rate of fire bonus. Now the Typhoon fleet issue is where they shine because the Typhoon fleet issue gets a 7.5% bonus to damage, not rate of fire, which means these very long to reload missile platforms get the most bang for their buck, so each missile is going to do more damage. So that's good in my opinion. But let's go back to the Typhoon. Okay, so let's take this rapid heavy Typhoon and let's go ahead and just load it up. Now, this is a nano one. This isn't anything spectacular, but it does have two ballistic control systems, so the DPS should be decent. Let's go with a well-rounded ammo choice. So let's just choose Caldari Navy Inferno, okay? The big thing about choosing ammo with rapid heavies is, during a fight, switching ammo is a bear, so a lot of times you're going to end up going for a well-rounded ammunition, such as the Infernos, which is usually what I start a fight with if I was to use this missile platform, simply because they have decent application, really good range, and fair damage. So yeah, it's kind of like the blasters of Minmatar. Let's look at the information on this specific setup, okay? Just keep these numbers in mind, okay? This is Rapid Heavy Navy Infernos, 121 Velocity, 105 Explosion. Let's head on over to a cruise missile fit. Okay, now, from what I understand as far as missiles is concerned, you can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, this number higher is better, this number lower is better. So we've got 168 explosion velocity because of the bonus of this ship, which means that these cruise missiles can apply to frigates just about as well, in some cases better, than heavy assault missiles. That's pretty sweet. It's the only ship in the game I'm aware of that has that kind of a bonus, at least on the Tech 1 variant. So this makes cruise missiles a viable option. Plus, the range on these is still really good. Look, even on Precision, which is a really short-range ammunition for missiles, 74 kilometers. You can script this if something's out further, and the Fury missiles reach out to 100 kilometers. So in pretty much any situation, if you can lock it, you can hit it. Okay, these missiles travel relatively fast, maybe not fast enough to keep up with a Garmer, but you're still looking at a velocity of 7,000 meters a second. Okay, so you're pretty much going to be able to hit almost anything that's shooting you, which is really nice. Variance in the fit. This is where sacrifices must be made. Okay, if you want a prop mod and you still want to get maximum application on your missiles, you're pretty much going buffer. At least I am. I go for a long point because I don't want to shut off their micro warp drives. I'm particularly interested in fighting things smaller than battleships, and most things smaller than battleships, not all of course, don't have micro jump drives. But some people like to rock MWDs, which is really good, and you don't want to shut that off when you're shooting them with cruise missiles, because bigger signature radius is pretty awesome. I go with a grappler. You could switch it for a web. That's personal preference. For pretty much every fight, the target is either right up on me, where the grappler is most effective, or too far away to point, where it doesn't matter anyways. Target painter, for obvious reasons, increase their signature radius, easier to hit, alright? And then the guidance computer. Now, I personally don't know if there is a better module to use, okay? I am playing to stack the most I can get out of this ship's explosion velocity bonus. So I go with the tracking computer. However, I could be wrong. Going with another web, another target painter, or other utilities could be better. But I've been using this scripted because I'm not an EFT warrior. I don't crunch all the numbers. You know, if you know for certain that there's a better module to use than a missile guidance computer with a precision script, and you have the numbers to back it up, I would love to see it. You know, post it in the comments. That'd be great information for everybody to see. But as far as I know, running this really stacks onto the ship's bonus. Okay, now this is the buffer fit. I do have a variant which I used in the fight I'm going to show you in just a moment here for a dual rep fit that gets the same DPS and a little bit better application. However, it sacrifices a prop mod. It doesn't have to sacrifice a prop mod. It just does in this specific fit because of where I've been using it. I've generally been running into fights where prop mod doesn't matter. As long as I can get to the location, I'm fine. But then you have to worry about gate camps and crap. So let me see. I think it's this one. No, it's not that one. Here it is. All right. This is the dual rep fit. You got a large ancillary and a large tech 2 repper. You can swap this out for another ENAM, but I like to go with the reactive because sometimes you run into just damage locked individuals. A lot of them are pilots. I'm generally just getting hit with EM and thermal, so that's a thing. Still not very strong for 1v1 battleship situations. However, I feel that this ship stands a much better chance of going up against another battleship because you're still going to get decent damage if you switch over to a Fury ammunition to fight battleships and battle cruisers. Let's go with the Infernal Fury. And let's make sure our drones are proper. This is not the maximum DPS drone setup. This is just a well-rounded fit. Okay, see, 911 DPS cold is pretty good. And in a 1v1 battleship situation, that can really, it can stand up. It can stand up. I'd prefer to sacrifice this for a newt if I was going up against another battleship, but the Smart Bomb really helps get rid of ECM drones, which are the bane of my existence. And just big gangs generally going to put a lot of drones on you, so having the Smart Bomb can knock off a lot of their DPS in a lot of situations. So, yeah, if you're gonna fight gangs, Smart Bomb's probably the way to go. If you're gonna fight just a few targets, maybe the heavy newt is the way to go. Now you're gonna notice my CPU is flashing here to negative 6.8. I run this fit with a 1% CPU implant. It's less than $1 million ISK. I think it's like 700,000 ISK, so it's super cheap. I consider an empty head being any kind of head that you're pretty much willing to self-destruct or let the enemy kill just so you can get back to system faster, and a 1% CPU implant is fine. You don't have to use the 1%. I mean, you can downgrade this to a compact, I think that's all you have to do is downgrade this to a compact. You might also have to downgrade the damage control to a compact or get rid of the large flare catalyst for some other module. More tank, maybe an anti-explosion rig. would be a good choice. So you don't have to use the implant. I just prefer it. Now this one applies a little better because of the flare. That's the only reason. You still got the tracking computer, long point to keep their micro warp drives on, a target painter, and a grappler. You still got the 2 ballistic control units. However, this tank lasts a lot longer in most situations unless you're just getting super blob, but super blob doesn't matter. You ain't going to really kill anything. So buffer tank versus dual reps. I prefer the dual rep. If you were to put a prop mod on this ship, it's really hard to fit. You're not going to be able to use a smart bomb because you need to have the large cap booster to keep your tank running. And I don't know which module I would sacrifice. I would probably sacrifice the tracking computer, but that really knocks off application. Maybe the grappler and put a newt so that I can slow down the enemy. That's up to you guys, but this is just what I was rocking in the fight you're about to see. So let's go look at this fight and just discuss what happens. I sped this fight up 200%. It was a little bit of a long one, and I saved it for the commentary instead of the montage because it's not 100% solo, but pretty much most of the fight is solo. I think a good 10 minutes of it. So I warped into this Plex before the recording started and was able to quickly kill one of their AFK destroyers before they warped off to reship. I was happy they came back, because usually they don't. They brought a Praxis, which is a ship I'm not very familiar with, so we'll get into that in a moment. Now notice these comments. Watch how fast this one dies. Remember what I said about the long point not shutting off their MWDs? Now, a lot of faction warfare pilots don't run MWDs. This won't always be the case, but in this situation, when they're out there around 20k with an MWD on, those precision cruise missiles really smack them hard. For a large majority of the fight, I'm going to keep my point on the Praxis to ensure they stay invested. The pilots who die will try to reship and come back to save the Praxis, or just keep the fight going. Praxises aren't necessarily expensive ships, but they're not super cheap either. I'm not too familiar with the Praxis, so we'll get into that more in a moment. It was pointed out to me, though, after the fight, that the Praxis is mostly just a tank. It doesn't do a lot of damage, and that a lot of its damage, which I didn't remember at the time, is in its drones. Thankfully, I had a smart bomb in this situation, which was really nice considering they had comments with the Praxis. Knocking all those drones off field really helped relieve pressure on my tank. Even notice how well I can hit the Punishers. I'm not shooting this one at the moment, but whenever I switch over them, even the dual-plated Punishers get punished by precision missiles, especially in this fit. When they're up close with the grappler, it's pretty awesome. Notice a stealth bomber on field. I notice my tank starts to really take a lot of damage. I don't know why. I always forget about stealth bombers. When I locked him up and looked at him, I didn't even notice it was a stealth bomber. For some reason, I thought it was an EC-600. Derp. Anyways, once I finally noticed the stealth bomber on field, I pretty much just two-shot him off the field. I don't remember if he was running his MWD. It's funny, I don't even think he was. The Manicore, okay, now he is. He got hit with that first missile and turned his MWD on, which was probably the worst thing he could have possibly done. But there you go, stealth bomber down. Here go the Punishers. Remember, these are the dual-plated Punishers. And look how fast those tanks go down. Even with battleships, those ships usually don't die that quickly. A little bit of lag spike there. I don't know if that was the editor or if that happened in game, but I've been having some socket close issues lately. Really annoying, even though my internet's been fine. So keeping the point on the Praxis to keep him invested in the fight, I go ahead and start shooting this Punisher down. He's out at 20k. This is something that won't happen with torpedoes. So once something gets out past 20k, you're pretty much not hitting it. You can switch the script and get 4 kilometers extra range, but losing the explosion velocity bonus is not worth it in my opinion. I'm going to start shooting the Praxis. I can mention before, this Typhoon is not really for 1v1 battleships, but 900 DPS is still 900 DPS, and for some reason he's trying to shoot my drones. I have no idea why. The best explanation I have is he's probably multi-boxing one of the other characters in the fight, so he probably started shooting the drones by accident and just kept doing it. Anyways, at this point, I called for help to kill a Praxis because I had had bad experiences with other battleships staying on field too long to try and whittle him down slowly. And I got help from some other militia members in fleet who burned, I think, 4 or 5 jumps to come out and help kill him. The Comet on field. Now, I probably could have killed that Comet if I switched the point over to him, but I wanted to keep the Praxis on the field. was really hoping the Praxis did not have a micro jump drive, and I don't think he did. I have to research the kill mail again to find out. Now notice that Comet's way out there at 70 kilometers, still getting hit by cruise missiles. That's pretty sweet. I think at this point, I even switched over to range script, because I'm more interested in killing as many things as I can as opposed to just killing the Praxis. And this is where help shows up and we kill the Praxis. I've said Praxis a lot in this fight. So yeah, unfamiliar with that ship. Turns out this was just mainly a tank with very little DPS, which tends to be the case in a lot of situations. Well, I don't see too many of them, I guess. Their fitting's not all that good either, so if you do put a massive tank on them, your DPS is really going to suffer. And that's pretty much the end of that fight. Hope you guys enjoyed that commentary.
I had to move out of the way.
Good job.
Fireflies, a million little pieces, feeds the dying light, and brings me back to life. In your eyes, I see something to believe in. Your hands are like a flame, your palms are sweet as pain. Let the darkness lead us into the light. Let our dreams get lost, feel the temperature rise. Baby, tell me one more beautiful lie. One touch and I ignite, like a starship speeding into the night. You and I get lost in the infinite light. Baby, tell me one more beautiful lie. One touch and I ignite. One touch and I ignite. One touch and I ignite. So alive, your touch is like a daylight, burning on my skin. It turns me on again. You and I, survivors of the same kind, but we're the only ones dancing on the sun. Let the darkness lead us into the light. Let our dreams get lost, feel the temperature rise. Baby, tell me one more beautiful lie. One touch and I ignite, like a starship speeding into the night. You and I get lost in the infinite light. Baby, tell me one more beautiful lie. One touch and I ignite. One touch and I ignite. One touch and I ignite. Diamonds are forever, but I need yours tonight. I'm more than a token, I can face the speed of light. Just like particles that's falling from all of the stars. Hear you calling for me. Hear you calling. Let the darkness lead us into the light. Let our dreams get lost, feel the temperature rise. Baby, tell me one more beautiful light. One touch and I ignite. I feel the heat as we collide.